Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem. We're continuing in Mishna Daf Hashavua. We're learning Siman Kuf Mem Zayin. We're in the Mechaber Seif Aleph. Yesterday we learned that there are three categories. A Sefer Torah you cannot touch even if you wash your hands. Kisvei HaKodesh you could touch provided that you wash your hands. Stam Yadayim are not kosher lekisvei HaKodesh. Then we learned about regular svarim, that if you know your hands are dirty, if you just came out of a beis hakisei or where you scratched yourself, you can't touch svarim unless you wash your hands. Then we learned about Hagba'ah. The gadol among all the oilem, meikar hadin, is given Hagba'ah, although the Mishnah said, Achshav, we're not medakdek, and we're even mechabed beinonim, mibnei darkei shalom. Okay, then the Mechaber said the minhag is, it is common to purchase Hagba'ah for a lot of money. What does that mean? It's common to purchase it. I thought we just said it goes to the gadol. It says in Mishna Berura, Katan Ches, Uregilam Leknoisei Hainu after Mitzaradin Hagadol Kaidem Mitzvah Zuhu, even though fundamentally it's given to the greatest person. Kahayoim nowadays mishum chibav hamitzvah regilan leknoisei b'damim yikarim ve'ein lahakbed bazeh v'hu kaidem lahagadol. The guy who buys it takes precedence even over the gadol. Again, that's even in a time where they gave Hagba'ah to the gadol. Magin Avram v'ayin be'el Yerabah mashkazah v'im loy nimtza v'eis hakneses mi shekana. If they don't find someone who buys it, v'hagabah mechabdin lahayashar be'ineihem, and the gabbai is mechabed whoever they want, bevadei roi la'agabah mechabed lagadol, certainly the gabbai should be mechabed the gadol shevet tzibor. Even though, by the way, the Mishna Berura did say before, ve'achshav na'agu shaloi ledaktek bazeh. I believe that this Mishna Berura is talking in the world of the Mechaber. In the world of the Mechaber, it goes to the gadol. However, commonly it's purchased, and if it's purchased, that even trumps the gadol. And if it's not purchased, the gabam should give it to the gadol. But nowadays, like we said before, we're not makbid about this. The minhag is to sell the haitzah v'hachnasa. I guess that's the psicha. Because of beroi v'am. What does that have to do with beroi v'am? So haitzah v'hachnasa is psicha. The Torah Chaim says, in the name of Kisvei Ari, that on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur you should buy haitzah v'hachnasa for a lot of money. Why? Because opening the Arayin is merames to big soidos in the Olamais Ha'oyanim. Okay? I have to keep that one in mind as a selling tactic. Okay. Now, what if somebody's wife is in their 9th month? The Kavachaim says in the name of the Chida, it's a minhag yafeh to open the Arayin. And it has a smacha al pi soid. Also, there's a minhag to give a chasan haitzah v'achnasa. These are all minhagim, they're not chiyuvim. Okay, weiter. In the Rama, Hagga'ah, yesh omrim, im ha'me'il b'tzad echad pishtan, u'b'tzad echad meshi. If, let's say, the mantle of Sefer Torah, on one side is linen, one side is silk, tzarech lahapech ha'meshi l'tzad ha'sefer. You should turn the silk toward the sefer, v'liglal. V'loi nagokein. That's not the minhag. Says the Mishnah Berura, im ha'me'il, hainu, ha'me'il ha'tachton shu ha'mapa. This is the lower cover of the Sefer Torah, the undercover. Dila me'il ha'elyon l'kol ein lahafkai. In other words, the outer cover, you're not going to turn inside out, because you don't need the nice part to be on the inside. Nobody sees it. Obviously, the nice part should be on the outside. But we're talking about the inner cover that nobody sees, so then the nicer part should be on the inside where that's touching the Sefer Torah. The reason for this is that the coverings of the Sefer Torah should be similar to the Arayin, where the inner cover was nice and the outer cover was nice. The Shar Tzion says the outer silk cover is also Dumya de Arayin, which was Mibachutz Mitzupa Zahav. So the inner one is silk, the outer one is silk. Nowadays they just make what they make for the Ashkenazic Sefer Torah. Okay. But then the Rama says, even though it's not the minhag, the Magen Avraham says it's better that it should be. The minhag u'be'er hagra hiskem la Shulchan Aruch. The Be'er Hagra agrees to the Shulchan Aruch. I guess the Shulchan Aruch means the Rama, because the Mechaber doesn't talk about this. So in other words, the Rama brought V'loi no'agu kain, and the Magen Avraham says L'chadchila toiv l'no'ag kain. And when the Gra is maskim to the Shulchan Aruch, which Shulchan Aruch? I'm reading it, he means the first day of the Rama, that you should turn the silk to the inner side. The oisa deya ein la ikar. V'al ken yeshaka, so therefore there are those who write, namely the Eli Rabbah, the Baal Nefesh Yasa Mappa Mishneit Stada Meshava, that a Baal Nefesh should make both sides of the Mappa the same. V'yavsha Pishtan Memsa, even with linen in the middle, Nami Shari Dumya da Arayin, Shahya Mitzupa Zav Mi Bayis Umi Bachutz Ve'etz Be'emtza. Now, according to the way I'm reading this Mishna Berura, you see that when the words Shulchan Aruch apply to the Rama, but I'm not 100% sure when he says Oisa Deya Ein La Ikar. Does he mean the Deya of V'loi no'agu kain Ein La Ikar? I think so. Or does he mean the first Deya of the Rama Ein La Ikar? And when the Mishnah Berurah says Hiskim La Shulchan Aruch, he means he's maskim to the Beis Yosef. The Rama who says V'loi no'agu kain is quoting the Beis Yosef. Maybe that's what the Mishnah Berurah means, that the Gra is maskim to the Shulchan Aruch. Maybe Shulchan Aruch refers to Beis Yosef. Anyone have any svarim on this?
He says there that the Hagba'ah says the Ikka, you don't need to make the inside of the mill look nicer. The people can't see it. Not like the Ramah and Hilchos Tefillin. You should make the tefillin nice even on the inside.
So the Ramah says you should make tefillin nice even on the inside. Does the Mechaber say something about that?
As in Siman Lamed Beis Daled.
Lamed Beis Daled? Oh, the Ramah says that's what he says in Hilchos Tefillin. So, what does the Gra mean here? That the Gra is hiskim to the Shulchan Aruch. Who doesn't bring down this din? The oisa deya ein la ikar. So Hiskim Shulchan Aruch means the Beis Yosef, I guess, in Siman Kuf Nun Gimel, who says V'loi no'agu kain. Okay. Mapois u'mitbachos v'chein haprusos al Shulchan Aser Miklayim. the different cloths and coats of the Sefer Torah or what's spread on the table is asur to use klayim. Why? We'll have to see. Ava paroiches, the paroiches of the aron, u'mashamanichen ba aron, what's in the aron, ve'in yotzim ha'sefer Torah mutar shal klayim. Now, why in the world would you not be allowed to have a klayim mantle? So the Shulchan Aruch says in Yardea that mapois u'mitbachos hasvarim, sometimes they wrap around the hand and they warm the hand, like the Ramah explains that also tablecloths, because you might wipe your hands or warm your hands, or the case of tefillin, you might be holding it. So anything that is handled should not be made out of klayim. That's the problem. It could be handled, as opposed to tablecloths, as opposed to, what's on the aron, is not a problem. Okay, v'loy no agokein. Hinei amagen Avram kasav d'mikomag mechila. Oh no, sorry. Fine. You're weiter in the Ramah. Ve'in liglo b'mapa hakrua im yesh lechers. Don't wrap a Sefer Torah in a ripped mappa if you have another one. Says Mishna Berura adin hami'il shaleh. Likewise, the coat on it. Va'afil hin chadoshim. Even if the new, the lav coat of Tveres Sefer Torah. It's not honor and glory for the Sefer Torah. The Ramah continues, Ve'ein lasais mapois the Sefer Torah midvarim yishanim shenasam davar acher letzarech hedyot. You should not make the wrappings of the Sefer Torah from old items that were used for other purposes, for mundane purposes. V'ayin lekaman siman kuf non gimel. So don't take your towel and make a Sefer Torah, make a mantle out of it. Says Mishna Berura, "Ein la'asos v'chulu she'ein zadar kavod." Ach b'diavad amasan. However, b'diavad, if you already made a mitzvah el yarabah she'ein lesser, the el yarabah says if you did it already, it's okay. Umiu al kapanim zev vaday shemasoy v'nesham l'kedusha. What's for sure true is that if you did use it for kedusha, also l'hoyer v'lasasem tashmish the tashmish, you can't then go ahead and use it for a tashmish the tashmish. Don't use mundane items to make tashmish kedusha. Mitzvah. But for a tashmish mitzvah, could go and kiss latalis. You want to take your hand towel and make a talis bag. That's not a problem. Mutter. Uvesefer beis Hillel the El Yarabah skimu dafil talis atzmai mutter. Not only that, you could use your towel and make a talis out of it. Miu mitashmish maguna. But if it was used for something disparaging, let's say undergarments, or maybe even an undershirt, kugoyin mechnasayim, like underwear, chadar manir dein lasses. Don't make tzitzis out of underwear or an undershirt. You could make a talis bag, but not the tzitzis itself. Oh, 1 second. So in other words, the Beis Hillel and the El Yarabah say even the talis itself you can make out of something used for the mundane, but not a tashmish, not if it was used for a tashmish maguna. Kazav ataz b'yardes and reish pei beis dafka tashmish kedusha asar. Dafka tashmish kedusha. Is it also to use from a mundane item? Aval tashmish did tashmish shari. The Magen Avram mefakbik b'zeh. The Magen Avram questioned this. If there's another sniff lahakel, you could be lenient. Kasa Magen Avram dafka k'moishein also shtamsham l'kedusha. Dafka as is, you can't use it l'kedusha. Avalam shina tzurasan. If you change the whole makeup of it, and you fashion it into something else entirely, it's permitted. Even though there are those who are machmer, even in this, the minhag ha'olam is to be mekel. One more, midvarim yeshanim, from old items. What if it wasn't used? So then, it's only if it was used that shenasa behem davar acher. Va'after Magen Avram b'tzad afil b'chadoshim kol shena'asu l'tzarech hedyot aser. Even though the Magen Avram is inclined to say, even if it's new, if it was used l'tzarech hedyot, it's aser. Hanoig lahaka ein limchas biyadai. Those who are noig lahaka, we're not going to protest. I guess if it was new and you use it l'tzarech hadyot, dechein mashma mikama achroinim. The Shartzian brings to the Rabbi Yehuda that his opinion is even a beged, if it was nishtamish ma'at, kol shaloi nishtamish bekeva shari. Okay. Have a good day, but don't go anywhere.